Welcome to the Cricket Ledger. We provide concise, data-driven insights into the world of ODI, Test, and T20 cricket. Whether it's a legendary milestone or a hidden record, we've got it logged. Today, we will go through the iconic Ashes 2025 to 2026 series quick stats, the new records made and the ones which got broken. The 2025-26 Ashes series was a historic campaign that saw Australia claim a dominant 4-1 victory. Beyond the scoreline, the series was defined by record-breaking performances that rewrote the history books for both nations. Now to start with the quick stats, we have our top 3 leading run scorers and top 3 wicket takers. At number 1, we have Travis Head from Australia as leading run scorer who played all the 5 test matches and scored total 629 runs at an average of 62.90, followed by Joe Root from England who scored 400 runs in 5 test matches at an average of 44.44, and on number 3, we have Harry Brook from England who scored 358 runs in 5 test matches at an average of 39.77. On bowling front, we have Mitchell Starc from Australia at number 1 who took 31 wickets in 5 test matches at an average of 19.93, followed by Britton Cars from England who took 22 wickets at an average of 30.31, and lastly we have Scott Boland from Australia who took 20 wickets in 5 test matches at an average of 24.95. We recently witnessed a truly historic performance from Travis Head during the Ashes series. It all began in the first test in Perth, where Head delivered one of the most aggressive displays of batting the format has ever seen. He reached a century in just 69 deliveries, marking the fastest ever century scored in a 4th innings in Test history. In a situation where most players are battling for survival, Head's counter-attack shifted the momentum of the entire series from the very first match. As the series progressed, Head's consistency proved to be just as remarkable as his strike rate. He finished the 5-match campaign with a total of 629 runs at an impressive average of 62.90. To put that number into perspective, Head has now become only the 5th Australian man in history to cross the 600-run threshold in an Ashes series. When you look at the names he is now rubbing shoulders with, you realize we are viewing a career-defining peak. Perhaps the most striking detail is where he sits on the all-time list for home Ashes series. Only 2 men have scored more runs for Australia in a single home Ashes campaign, Sir Donald Bradman and Steve Smith. By surpassing almost every other legend of the game in this specific category, Head has cemented his status as a modern great. He wasn't just scoring runs, he was matching the output of the greatest statistical outliers the game has ever known. In the world of cricket, some milestones are merely numbers, while others are historic shifts. During the recent Sydney Test, Steve Smith achieved the latter. By striking a magnificent 37th Test century, Smith officially moved past the legendary English batsman Jack Hobbs to become the 2nd highest run scorer in the 149-year history of the Ashes. With a career total of 3,682 runs against England, Smith has overtaken a record that stood for nearly a century. He now sits second only to the incomparable Sir Donald Bradman on the all-time list. But the records didn't stop there. This century also marked his 13th in the Ashes, once again placing him second only to the Don for the most hundreds scored in the game's oldest rivalry. What makes this feat so remarkable is the company he now keeps. Surpassing a legend while every Ashes series produces heroes, the 2025-26 campaign saw a transformation in the history books of left-arm bowling. During the 2nd Test at the Gabba, the very ground where he debuted 14 years prior, Mitchell Starc achieved a feat many thought would take decades to reach. By dismissing England's Harry Brook, Starc claimed his 415th Test wicket, officially surpassing the legendary Pakistani Sultan of Swing, Wasim Akram. In doing so, Stark became the most prolific left-arm fast bowler in the history of Test cricket. It was a symbolic passing of the baton, later acknowledged by Akram himself, cementing Stark's legacy as the premier left-arm quick of the modern era. Dominance in the 30-wicket club. Stark's record-breaking series wasn't just about career longevity, it was about sustained, elite-level dominance. He finished the 5-match series with a remarkable 31 wickets at an average of just 19.93. To put that into perspective, Stark has now joined a truly exclusive fraternity. He is only the 4th player this century to take 30 or more wickets in a single Ashes series. He stands alongside legends Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, and Mitchell Johnson. In a series where availability is often as important as ability, Stark played all 5 tests, leading the attack with a relentless pace that eventually earned him the Player of the Series award. Career best figures. The tone for this historic summer was set on the very first day of the first test in Perth. On a fast, bouncy Optus Stadium track, Stark produced what he later described as the best spell of his career. He dismantled the English top order, finishing the first innings with figures of 7 for 58. This wasn't just his best ever test return, it was a psychological blow from which the opposition never fully recovered. By removing the world's top-ranked batter, Joe Root, for a duck during that spell, Stark also reached the milestone of 100 Ashes wickets, proving that he remains Australia's ultimate big-game hunter. In summary, Mitchell Stark's 2025-26 Ashes performance was more than just a statistical success. By eclipsing Wasim Akram's tally, joining the elite 30-wicket club, and recording career best figures at the age of 35, he has silenced any remaining critics. He hasn't just replaced legends, he has earned a seat at their table. As we look back on this 4-1 series victory, it will be remembered as the summer when Mitchell Stark became the undisputed king of left-arm fast bowling. The impact. While the series was dominated by headlines of Australian records, one of the most breathtaking individual performances came from England's captain, Ben Stokes, on the very first day of the tour. In a whirlwind opening session at Perth, Stokes tore through the Australian top order to claim a historic 5-wicket haul. It wasn't just that he took the wickets, it was the extraordinary pace at which he did it. Historical speed. Stokes' 5-for was officially recorded as the 5th fastest by an England bowler in the history of Test cricket based on balls bowled. In an era where sports scientists monitor every delivery, Stokes threw the manual aside, producing a masterclass of high-intensity swing bowling. By reaching his 5-wicket milestone in record time, he gave England a glimmer of hope on a day where 19 wickets ultimately fell, proving that even when facing a hostile Perth surface, he remains one of the most dangerous game-changers in the world. The captain's legacy. This performance was a testament to his lead from the front philosophy. Even in a losing effort for the series, this specific spell will be remembered as a moment where Stokes pushed his body to the limit to achieve a speed of success that very few in the 149-year history of English cricket have ever matched. A record-breaking Boxing Day. While the battle on the pitch is the heart of the Ashes, the scale of the support this summer reached unprecedented heights. Nowhere was this more evident than at the Melbourne Cricket Ground for the Boxing Day Test. On day 1, a staggering 94,199 fans packed the stadium, the largest single-day crowd in the history of Test cricket. It surpassed the previous record set during the 2015 World Cup final, proving that despite the rise of shorter formats, the 5-day game remains the pinnacle of the sport in the eyes of the public. Standing in the middle of that coliseum of cricket, the atmosphere was a reminder of why the Ashes remains the greatest rivalry in the sport. A century-old bowling blitz. The series opened with a level of volatility we haven't seen in over 100 years. In the first test at Perth, the West Test pitch provided a brutal contest between bat and ball. A remarkable 19 wickets fell on the very first day, the highest tally for a single day of Ashes cricket since 1894. We saw Mitchell Starc claim a 7-wicket haul, followed immediately by a Ben Stokes counter-attack. It was a breathless start that set a record for the quickest series retention in history. Because of these fast-moving matches, Australia officially retained the urn in just 11 days of actual play, equaling a 103-year-old record for the fastest series victory. Clinical consistency at the SCG. While the early series was defined by bowling dominance, the fifth test in Sydney showcased a historic display of batting depth. In a single innings, the Australian side achieved 7 different partnerships of 50 runs or more. This broke a 134-year-old Ashes record previously held by the 1892 English side. What makes this feat so significant is what it says about the team's composition. It wasn't just about 1 or 2 superstars carrying the load. From the openers to the lower order, every pair that came to the crease contributed a half-century stand, a level of clinical consistency that effectively demoralized the opposition attack. England's drought ends finally. We must acknowledge the significance of the fourth test in Melbourne. For the English side, it was a moment of profound relief. By securing a 4-wicket victory, England ended a 14-year winning drought on Australian soil. They had endured an 18-match winless streak down under dating back to 2011. Even though the Ashes had already been retained by Australia at that point, this win was a vital proof of concept for Ben Stokes' side. It showed they could win in these conditions, and it prevented what many feared would be a second consecutive 5-0 whitewash. In a summer of Australian dominance, that Melbourne victory stood as a testament to English resilience.